What's up guys, and welcome to a new video. So today I will cover my season starter, Mighty Throw Barbarian. This build doesn't use any mythic uniques. It's not optimized and just barely over Paragon 200, but already I have pushed tier 80 in the pit, and it can easily handle all content in Torment 4, including all bosses. This build has great survivability and does good damage. I have seen single ticks for close to 200 billion. In this guide I will cover everything about the build, and there will be timestamps below, so feel free to jump ahead at any time. There will be some pit tier 80 gameplay at the end of the video if you want to check that out as well. There is a good chance I will work on an uber unique, more optimized version of this build soon, so keep your eyes open for a video in the near future for that. Anyways, let's get right into it. Alright, we'll go ahead and jump into the skills used on the build. Right here up top, use Rallying Cry. The main reason that we use this obviously is for the Unstoppable, but we get a lot of resource generation with this, and we need to generate a lot of resource with this build. Right here we use Challenging Shout. Basically this is going to taunt enemies and give us damage reduction, and then 20% bonus maximum life. And we do use a lot of overpowers with this build for damage, so we want to get life anywhere that we possibly can. Right here we have War Cry. Obviously this is going to give us berserking, and then also it's going to boost our damage. Right down here we have Mighty Throw. Obviously this is the bread and the butter of the build. When it comes to Mighty Throw, you're going to want to set this to your two-handed mace. And then for our ultimate skill down here, we have Wrath of the Berserker. This is just going to give us a ton of damage overall. And then, also it gives us more movement speed and fury generation. As for the expertise, we're going to go with the two-handed axe expertise, the one you pretty much use for all builds. We're going to get that 10% multiplier against vulnerable enemies. For the boss powers, up top right here, we're going to go with the Uravar's Lobbed Bombs. The main reason that we use this is for the 15% cooldown reduction. Over here, we're going to use Hatred's Embrace. This is going to give us 50% crit chance. We have almost 100% with the crit that we have on gear and everywhere else. Over here, we're going to use Cineraut's Flames. The reason that we use this is because with the helm that we're using, we turn all of our damage into fire damage, and this is going to boost our fire damage. And then down here, we're going to use Blackmailer's Sabotage. And with this, anytime that we gain Fortify, which is every time that we throw our Mighty Throw, so basically all the time, 30% of the Fortify that we get is turned into Barrier, and that makes it to where we have a Barrier at all times. And with this build, we have 36k life when everything's up, and 36k Barrier as well, so it makes it super tanky. As for the Mercenaries, we're going to go right here up top, and then you're going to want to run over this way, to right here to Vanguard. You can go over here if you need more armor, but I didn't need that, so I went to Vanguard to slow enemies down a little bit. And then we're going to come over here, get Provoke. And then down here, we're going to take Mocking Lure. Basically, we get a 15% multiplier anytime right here taunts enemies. For the reinforcement, we go with Variana for the 10% boost in attack speed right down here. Alright, now we'll briefly go over the gear and aspects using the build really quick. Go ahead and put the rubies into your gear over here for strength, and then rubies down here for overpower damage. And then over here, you want to get your resistances good. I'm using diamonds, but use whatever you need to get your resistances capped off. Here's the stats real quick. I'll run down, so if you want to check those out. Now, when it comes to the gear, guys, like I said, there's no uber uniques in this build, and it is definitely not fully optimized. I don't have all the masterworks like perfectly done or anything like that. This was my season 8 starter, and it's been a solid build overall. Starting up top, we're going to go with the Ugly Bastard helm. This is an awesome helm, gives us a ton of damage overall. Gives us cooldown for Wrath of the Berserker, which is great. And then, you can see our Wrath of the Berserker is sitting at 16.63 seconds right now with the cooldown that we have, so it's up at all times. And then, this helm's also awesome because anytime the Wrath of the Berserker is up, see we get a 97% multiplier to our damage. And then right up there you see while berserking, your direct damage dealt is converted into fire, and that's a 97% multiplier to all of our damage, so that gives us a ton of damage overall. So there's no better choice than this helm. Now into the chest right here, you're going to want to go with a regular chest piece. It's strength, maximum life, and fury per second. I actually found this chest. Now, try to get the greater affixes anywhere that you can. You definitely want to get that fury per second, and if you can, try to get that as a greater affix. With this build, we spend a lot of fury, so we need to be able to replace that fury because we're just spamming constantly. Now for the tempers right here, I have the total armor. On my mercenary, I could have went down and got the total armor and put life right there. I should have done that instead. So in a perfect world, you'd want to have life. And then for your other temper, you want to get Mighty Throw pulse size. This is really important. You want your Mighty Throw to overlap. There's going to be 3 weapons that you throw out, and you want them to overlap to do a lot of damage to enemies. You want to get at least between like 40 and 50% total. We'll get it right here. Then also down here on our boots that you'll see in a second. And then for the aspect right here, you're going to go with Juggernaut's aspect so that we can get all of our armor up. But like right now in Torment 4, we have, 1,300 armor. We're over capped. You only need to get 1,000. But now into the gloves, you definitely want to go with the Bane of Ajad. These gloves are awesome for Mighty Throw. Give you a ton of ranks to Mighty Throw. Fury per second, like I said, which is really important, like we have on our chest. And right there, I got the greater affix on Mighty Throw and Fury per second. Gives us cooldown reduction. And then every 12 seconds, we get a 600% multiplier. Basically, your Mighty Throws that you throw out, they detonate, and you get a huge fire damage multiplier. So for this build, overall, these gloves are pretty much second to none. You got to have the gloves. Next up into the pants, right here, we're going to use the Tacits of Dawning Sky. These are nice. They give us all stats, movement speed, which is great. You can just move around really quickly with this build. Maximum resistances, and the main reason that I use them though is for that, greater affix of resistance to all elements. This helps to solve our resistance problems in Torment 4. On this, I would definitely say to masterwork the all stats. And then on the gloves, guys, you definitely want to try to masterwork the ranks to Mighty Throw. I think you can get like a total of 15, if I'm not mistaken, if you triple masterwork it. Now down into the boots, right here, you're going to go with strength, life, movement speed. Now, if you wanted to, you could get rid of the movement speed and go with ranks to Warcry right there, which technically I could do. I just didn't want to do that. I like to move around quickly. But for more damage, you can go with ranks to Warcry. And then for tempers, get more movement speed and then also a Mighty Throw pulse size once again. So you can get to that 40 or 50% along with your chest piece. For the aspect on the boots, you're going to go with the Wild Bolt aspect. It's going to pull enemies into us and give us a 10% multiplier against those enemies. As for your two-hander down here, you're going to want to go with strength, maximum life. Now I have damage. This is just the two-hander that I got, like originally the first decent one that I found. In a perfect world though, you want to get the greater affix of strength, go with life, and then in place of that damage, you want to have overpower damage. For tempers, go with damage while berserking, and then chance for Mighty Throw to deal double damage is really important. And you want to try to masterwork that if you can 3 times. If you can masterwork it 3 times or even 2 times with a high roll, then you don't have to get it anywhere else. Like right here, you see on my single hand weapon, I had to get the chance for Mighty Throw to deal double damage right there. Now in a perfect world, I would have went with Warpath. As you see right there, I have Warpath. I could have got Warpath right there, and that gives us a damage multiplier to our overpowers. So yeah, right there, go with chance for Mighty Throw to deal double damage, and try to masterwork it at least once, if not twice, if you're able to. As for the aspect right here, you're going to go with the Herculean aspect. As you can see right there, Mighty Throw deals up to 90% multiplicative increased damage, and it hurls another 2 weapons, so you're throwing out 3. So this is a huge damage boost for your build overall. As for the runes right here in this weapon, you're going to go with Seer Zal, and then that's going to give us 20% bonus maximum life, which is huge for the build, for our survivability and for our overpower damage. Percent to overpower and life and fortify are the things that boost your overpower damage overall, so you want to try to get life anywhere that you possibly can. Now over here, as you can see, I have the third blade. This is a need be for the build. If you don't have this, then there's a 12-second cooldown on your Mighty Throw, so you definitely want to get the third blade. You can see right here, I just have 750 item power. I haven't even got a greater affix one yet. If you do get a greater affix one, try to get the greater affix on strength, and strength is what you'll want to masterwork. And then also you want to try to get the highest roll that you can. You can see right there, your weapon mastery skills are now also core skills, making it to where we can have that tag and we can get ranks for core skills for damage for it. But not only that, you can see right there, your weapon mastery skills are now also core skills that have 100% cooldown reduction, but cost Fury, dealing 70% of the normal damage. So you don't want to go with like a close to 50% roll, because you're going to be losing a ton of damage overall. So try to get as close as you can to the 70%. Into our next one-hander, you're going to want to go with the mace right here for the implicit of overpower damage. You can see right there, go with strength, maximum life, overpower damage, and then overpower damage for the temper, and then chance for Mighty Throw to deal double damage. Now, if somehow you can double masterwork that on your two-handed mace, and down there you're going to want to go with the ranks to like Warpath, like you see right here. It'll give us a multiplier. For the aspect on here, we go with the aspect of earthquakes. Now, you can see right here, ground stop creates an earthquake, damaging enemies, blah, blah, blah. We're not worried about that. We're worried about down below that, where it says, while standing in earthquakes and for 4 seconds afterwards, you deal up to 60% multiplicative increased damage. Now that's a huge damage multiplier. Now you can see right here, our runes in our slashing weapon are Lith and Tech. Right there, invoke the Barbarian's Earthquake, dealing damage to enemies within. And this goes off just by standing still. every 0.6 seconds, we have an earthquake go off. So that's like permanent uptime on our earthquakes. Even if we walk away from them, you know, like it says right there, even for 4 seconds afterwards, we still get that damage multiplier. So that's huge. It's a good multiplier overall. So we definitely want to have that aspect right here. Into our slashing weapon. Now, same over here, strength, life. Now I have critical strike damage. Right there, you do want to go with overpower damage in a perfect world. And then also get overpower damage for your temper. And then you want to temper warpath down below that. When it comes to masterworking, try to masterwork warpath many times as you can, because every rank I think gives you like a 4% multiplier, so that's, you know, a good amount of damage. As for the aspect right here, you're going to go with the aspect of encroaching wrath. You can see right there, after spending 100 fury, your next weapon mastery or brawling skill within 8 seconds deals up to 160% increased damage. It's a huge multiplier. You know, we're having that constantly go off. For our mighty throw, you know, we're spending 60 fury each time, so you know, every second one is getting that damage boost. And then once again, for the runes right there, you go with lift tech. We want to be creating those earthquakes for this aspect right here, the earthquakes aspect. Now up to our amulet right here, we go the Banished Lord's Talisman. Now we have 3 ways that we can overpower. With the Banished Lords right here, you know, after you spend 275 of your primary resource, which is every 5th swing, if I'm not mistaken, with Mighty Throw, will be a guaranteed overpower. And then our other 2 guaranteed overpowers, one is a glyph in the Paragon board, and one is the actual Bone Break board that we use. So with this and those 2 guaranteed overpowers, that's how we're overpowering pretty often. On the Banished Lords, you know, it has a lot of good stuff. Gives us up to a 60% multiplier to our overpowers. On here, you want to try to get the greater affix of maximum life and core skills. I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up between maximum life and core skills if you have them both as a greater affix. Which ones you want to masterwork? I would probably still lean towards the core skills. That would be where I would masterwork. Then into our rings right here in the first ring. Strength, maximum life, critical strike chance. You want to get that, those same stats on both your rings. Try to get the greater affix of strength. And then you're going to go with the same tempers on both rings also. Wrath of the Berserker cooldown, Wrath of the Berserker cooldown, and damage while berserking on both of them. As for the aspect on this ring, you want to go with Bold Chieftain. This is going to be reducing our cooldowns for our shouts. And then for the aspect right here, you're going to go with Vehement. Right here you can see casting an ultimate skill increases your damage by up to a 30% multiplier. We're constantly casting our ultimate skill, so that's giving us a nice damage boost. And then you see right there, gain 2 additional ultimate skill ranks, and that's going to bring the cooldown for our ultimate skill down. So we have rank 7, Wrath of the Berserker right now. Alright, we will briefly go over the skill tree. Up top, throw 2 points wherever just so we can move down. Right here, put 1 into pressure point, and then put 3 into warpath. After overpowering, you deal more multiplicative increased damage for 4 seconds. Right here, get 3 into tempered fury. We want to boost our fury up to at least 120 so that we can get 2 casts of mighty throw with it. Down here, like we talked about, get rallying cry, run that back to tactical. Right here, get 3 into imposing presence. We want maximum life anywhere we can get it. Right here, go into challenging shout, run that back to tactical as well. Down here in our brawling skills, take war cry, run that back to power war cry for damage. Right here, 3 into booming voices. We want much duration on our shouts if possible. And then I'd say get 1 into raid leader for a little bit of regen with your life. Right here, just put 1 point into aggressive resistance, and then 3 into prolific fury. Now, you know, we want to get our fury generation up as high as we possibly can. We get fury per second on gear, and then we want to get the fury generation anywhere that we can. Down into our weapon mastery, obviously we're going to take mighty throw, max that out, go back to enhanced for the 25% attack speed. And then right here, go into warrior's mighty throw for a 50% multiplier. Up here, go into pit fighter, 3 into there for, you know, damage and damage reduction. 3 into slaying strike for damage. Go 2 into exposed vulnerability. This is going to make it to where we're making enemies vulnerable. Now, if you look, mighty throw has the tag of weapon mastery and core. And right here, dealing direct damage with a weapon mastery skill causes your next core skill to make enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. So, you know, we're making enemies vulnerable with this constantly. And then right here, get 3 into no mercy. Now, if you have more crit chance than I do, you don't need 3 points right here. You can put them somewhere else. But currently, I do need that 9%. Helps me to get to the almost 100% that I have. And then down here, we're going to get thick skin. Get 3 into counter offensive for damage. And then 2 down here for a ton of fortify. Right to our ultimate skill, max out Wrath of Berserker. Run that back to Supreme for a bunch of damage. 3 into heavy handed, 3 into brute force, 3 into wallop, all a bunch of damage multipliers for us. Then down here for our key passive, go with unbridled rage. Now this does double the cost of our mighty throw, which in turn helps out our Banished Lord's Talisman amulet to proc more often. Now that is the reason though that we need more fury generation. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into the Paragon board really quick. There will be a link down in the description for this build over on Mobilytics. You want to check it out that way. Now, really quick, don't forget to level up your glyphs, guys. At 15, you get a bigger radius, and then at 46, you get another one. You want to get that big radius. We're going to run up into our starter board right here, put Crusher. We get 20% multiplicative increase over power damage. Next board that we're going to come into will be the Weapons Master board. Right there, swapping weapons. Don't worry about that. But you see also, you deal 30% increased damage to injured and healthy enemies. That's a nice multiplier for us. In this board, we're going to go ahead and throw Martial. Now, this is going to help to bring our cooldowns down by quite a bit. This lowers our ultimate skill cooldown. And I mean, basically, we're able to hit our ultimate skill like non-stop. The next board that we're going to come into is going to be the Decimator board. Right here, each time you make an enemy vulnerable, your damage is increased by 20% multiplicative, 5 seconds. And then overpowering a vulnerable enemy, get another 20% multiplier, so that's 40% multiplier overall. In this board, go ahead and throw Ire. We got to get damage for berserking. We want to get up to, I think it's like 500% in total, so that we can meet our requirements for Blood Rage right here. See right there, your damage is increased by 10% multiplicative of your damage while berserking bonus, up to a 45% maximum. So that's why we get damage while berserking in so many different spots. So yeah, once again, it's going to be the Blood Rage board like we just talked about. Right here, we're going to go with Dominate. This is going to be one of our guaranteed overpowers. See right there, every 12 seconds, your next attack will overpower. And then the final board that we're going to go into, guys, will be the Bonebreaker board. This is another guaranteed overpower for us every 12 seconds. And then in this board, you're going to go ahead and throw Might right here. You can see right there, you deal 8% multiplicative increased damage while wielding a two-handed weapon. And then having Might over here, we get a ton of overpower damage over here and raw damage. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to let me know down below. There will be gameplay right now. You want to check that out. Anyways, thanks for watching.